up, you guys? This is Rob from The Gay Guy Plays, and today on The Snapshot, we're going to take a look at how Volt's new Augment Transistor Shield, combined with his passive, can give you over 25,000 points of bonus damage. Alright, now I know y'all have heard this before, but for any newcomers who might have stumbled upon this video individually, you can pick up Volt's Transistor Shield for 25,000 standing after you've reached rank 5 with either Red Veil or the Arbiters of Hexus. Okay, so before we jump into the augments, I want to cover Volt's passive really quickly, mainly because of the fact that I think there are a lot of people that don't quite understand how this works. And in all honesty, I had to go and research it myself as well to kind of make sure that I knew what I was talking about, which more people should be doing, by the way. So as you can see up in the buff corner of the window, right next to your health and shielding, you'll see a little charge counter. Now, for every meter you move, you gain 5 points into that charge counter. On your next attack, whether it's a shot from a gun or a melee hit, what ends up happening is you expend those charges to deal bonus damage to your enemy. Now, it's electrical damage, and it's a flat 1,000 points of electrical damage. However, there is one key to the way that this is applied. So let's go ahead and jump into some footage real quick. Alright, so as you can see here, we have an unmodded Soma Prime, and basically, whenever we shoot this ancient healer, we are dealing 13 points of just base damage to them. No crits, no nothing fancy. Now, as you can see in this footage right over here, with the ability fully charged up to 1,000 stacks, we're getting 1,116 points of damage. Where that extra 3 points of damage comes from, I have no clue, but basically, it's 1,000 points of damage on top of the 13 points of damage that we were doing earlier. Seems simple, right? However, this is where things get interesting. Now, as you can see here, I have tossed in a Point Strike and a Vital Sense, and the big reason behind this is mainly because of the fact that what a lot of people don't know is that this 1,000 points of damage from Volt's passive is actually applied before critical damage. So as you can see here, on a normal critical strike with Vital Sense equipped, we are doing 85 points of damage. However, once we go ahead and charge up our passive to over 1,000 points, we are now doing 6,705 points of damage. This is a massive jump from just the normal 1,000 points of damage. Literally, we are doing over 6,000 points more damage from this crit. Now, of course, as you guys know, the Soma Prime has a very high critical multiplier, but clearly this passive is working insanely well with crit weapon. Now, before we move on, I actually wanted to show you exactly how insane this is with Volt's Shield, because Volt's Shield, if you guys don't know, has a built-in critical damage multiplier. Now, if I'm gonna be 100% real with you, I do not quite understand the formula or how it works because numbers are weird sometimes, but with playtesting, as you can see right on the screen, you saw previously we did 6,705 points of damage. Now we are doing 20,000 points of damage with the shield. So we have literally gone from 85 points of damage all the way up to 20,000 points of damage solely on that 1,000 point charge that we got from Volt's passive. That's absolutely insane. Now, clearly this is on an unmodded Soma Prime, so I wanted to go ahead and give you an example with one that is modded. Now, if you take a look at this build real quick, I have left off Split Chamber because I felt like it would be easier for you guys to see the numbers, and you will also see Hammer Shot in there, and that is a substitution for bladed rounds. Now, I usually will keep bladed rounds in there, but I wanted to kind of give you guys an idea of how this would work if we had another critical damage multiplier on there. So as you can see, straight out of the gate with nothing, no buffs from the passive whatsoever, we're doing 823 points of damage per crit. Now let's go ahead and charge up that passive. You can see right here we are doing 9,101 points of damage. That is absolutely insane. That is a 7,000 point boost to the damage output. Now, of course, we didn't want to stop there, so we can go ahead and take a look at how this works with the shield. And we have gone from 9,101 all the way up to 26,000 1,898 points of damage. And this is consistent. You can see I'm actually showing you clips from multiple different times. This isn't different. This isn't wavering. This is just with a max rank of that passive. So we have gone from 823 points of damage to 26,898 points of damage. This is not just 1,000 points of damage, you guys. Now, clearly this is limited to crit weapons, and I know that I've said it in the past, and you know, I truly kind of believe it, that if an ability limits you to one type of weapon, then how good is that ability really? But we have a ton of crit weapons that are currently available in game, and I know that a lot of people are loving crit weapons, so I have to say that I feel like this is pretty fucking viable. And let's be real, if we look at some of the passives of other Warframes in game, we don't get damage boosts that can result in an additional 20,000 points of damage per shot. Well, not per shot, but on an individual shot. And that is when we go ahead and jump into the augment itself. Alright, now when it comes to the Transistor Shield augment, this is actually pretty freaking awesome, because you can see now allies can pick up the electric shield, and 100% of the damage absorbed will be added to Volt's static discharge, which means you can literally have 4 people who are drawing aggro absorb damage for you and give you a constant feed of the static discharge to your passive. So you can either just put them down and have your allies pick them up and kind of be aggro targets, or you can literally put this in kind of like areas of interest. So if you're defending an area, you can literally just have like your shield all gathered around, absorbing all of that damage and allowing you to increase your damage output. Now, clearly, you're going to need a little bit of, at higher levels, you're going to need a little bit of status to break through some of the defenses, but if you've got a good cohesive team, and you've literally stripped off all of their armor with either corrosive projection, or you have somebody that's doing the armor stripping for you, this allows you to do a bunch of raw, supercharged damage. Now, that's pretty much it when it comes to the facts and figures. You saw how the passive worked, you saw all the clips for the testing. If you guys want, you can stick around, because I'm actually going to go ahead and jump into the gameplay to see how this works in actual real-life situations. Alright, now real quick, I did want to point this out because I know that somebody in the comments is going to say it, and actually, in our previous video, one of my regular commenters, who I have to admit, after some long, hard struggles, I do kind of love having you around, did point out that there is a critical headshot multiplier that can also be applied to this passive. So literally you are getting, I think it's like up to 8 times more damage in additional to all of this other damage that is going on. I don't really want to do the math. I'd rather just record it on screen and say here's what it is. But what I wanted to do was kind of use body shots to give you the realistic view of this. So you're getting, because you know, we're not getting headshots all the fucking time. Let's be real. So I wanted to give you kind of the more regulated version of this, but I'm sure that for a higher dramatic effect, you can score headshots with this, especially because I've got Argon Scope equipped, and you know me, I love my Smita and my Red Crit Kitty, so I could be dealing even more damage with his passive, but I didn't want to hyperbolize the situation. I would rather kind of give you the baseline. And I mean, 25,000 bonus damage from a passive is a good baseline, right? Okay, let's go ahead and actually jump into the gameplay now. All right, so I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I really quite like the mod. As you can see, the numbers are a little bit insane right now. Of course, I've got the red crits going and all of that hullabaloo. But one of the big important things about this is shield placement, because you want to make sure that you're placing your shield in places that is going to soak up damage from enemies, and especially when it's supercharged with like red crits from your kitties, it can be absolutely insane. The only thing is, I'm not a pro at placing shields. Well, you guys know, like I said, I am not a Volt main. I'm not a Volt main. However, this does prove to be pretty fucking fun. And when you can place them right, and when you're doing right, actually, maybe I should do something like this, because we're getting a lot from up top, and like a couple down here. But one of the cool things too is the fact that you can literally pick up a shield and let that, and kind of travel around with it and let it be your charge up. So you can get your aggro. It's just kind of like, it's just about kind of seeing if your teammates will pick up shields too and kind of like help you along with it. We've got a little bit of control, so it's a little bit different here. we've got a what is it called? We've got a Banshee that's using her silence to kind of stun enemies. You know, I'm not gonna hate on her. Not gonna hate on her for it, but it is preventing my shields from really picking up a whole bunch of damage, because you know I want some extra damage. Because it's a big thing about this is you really want to kind of make sure that it soaks up some damage so that you can go ahead and deliver more punishments. Now, overall, kind of like for the mod itself, I really think that, you know, and you have to keep in mind, I'm just on Hydra. This isn't anything like spectacular or crazy. Nobody is at the risk of their lives or anything like that. And the pathing is a little bit, you know, we've got some narrow pathing areas, so it's not necessarily the most lethal place ever, and it's not going to soak up as much damage as you would with like a level 150 ancient healer, right? So that's also something to kind of keep in mind, is the fact that the damage boost that you get from this relies on how much your shield can absorb, and also relies on you to use a crit weapon to kind of access it. So all in all, I think it's a pretty cool mod. It's got some niche uses for it. It's not completely useless, and I know for a fact that there are going to be some genius people out there that manage to find ways to, I don't want to say exploit this, but optimize this in some very, very interesting group builds. Now, there's one more thing that I wanted to point out, and I really didn't necessarily want to kind of like put it on blast, but I feel like it needs to be put on blast. Yesterday, one of the things that I had actually noticed was that there was somebody who had stated in the comments that they are a Volt main, and that this 1,000 points of damage is absolutely pathetic, and that DE doesn't even play their own game. Now, we know when people say something stupid like that, you're like, you gotta double check real quick. Very, very clearly, this person who is a Volt main does not know very much about their main. Let's be real. And I know that there were other people that were commenting below that commenting. They were all saying like, oh yeah, I agree. Well, you guys, don't follow people blindly. Don't just assume that they know what they're talking about, because clearly this 1,000 points of damage is not enough kind of thing. Well, when used appropriately with the rest of Volt's kit, that 1,000 points of damage translates into something so much bigger than just that 1,000 points of damage. So I just want to put it out there that there are some people that want to kind of position themselves as experts, as mains, as they like know so fucking much, right? Don't trust those people. What you need to do is look for the people who will sit there and who will research, because for me, y'all know I'm an idiot. Y'all know I'm not a Volt main. So the first thing that I did when I was like looking up all this kind of shit, I was like, let me research this. Because you need to be humble enough to accept the fact that sometimes you need to playtest things to make sure that you know what you're talking about. Clearly, this 1,000 points of damage, yeah, on the surface is 1,000 points of damage, but when used with somebody with experience, when used in the hands of a real Volt main, they would know exactly that that 1,000 points of damage means so much more in the grand scheme of things with the rest of his kit. So I'm going to leave you with that. Don't trust the people who just talk out of their asses. Trust the people who do their research. So with that said, as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I hope you guys found this informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.